So when we talk about losing the attraction inside relationships, we know that the energetic exchange is a very important piece in bringing the harmony and sustaining the harmony inside a relationship. We also know that the emotional um, exchange as well is a part of that energetic exchange. Emotions is a part of it. When we dive into the emotions, we look at five different elements that comprise of the emotion that help drive the emotions. The obvious one is feelings. We also know interest, curiosity, attention, and perceptions. So when we talk about relationships, there is definitely an emotional exchange that's going on between everybody that's involved in the relationship. But the thing we have to dive into to look at is what is causing us to lose the attraction. Okay. And so when we talk about losing the attraction, we have to look at the different aspects of the emotion that might be driving that. And so I want to point out something that might be overlooked, but is often um, recognized, and that's the perceptions. Oftentimes, when we're in relationships, the closer we become to somebody, the more we begin to realize that how we view them changes. So we start find ourselves judging them more than appreciating them or more than admiring them. So one of the things that can shift the relationship is the perception. And so if you're experiencing a lose of attraction in a relationship, I encourage you to dive into the perception. I encourage you to look at the judgment that you might be holding against your lover because that is driving the loss of the attraction. Now, when we begin to dive into uh, the perception part, and we begin to apply it to the five reflective elements, okay? So perceptions is really going to fall up under your air element, okay? And so because there's an issue there, we begin to look at the thing that might can counterbalance or that can kind of correspond with it is going to really come from that metal element. And that metal element begins to represent the rhythm and the structure. So if you really think about it, something is going on inside the relationship that has changed the rhythm of thought about you or the rhythm of thought you have about your lover. There's something inside the relationship that is shifting the trend, right, in terms of how y'all interact. Something has disrupted something in that rhythm, all right? Then also something that I think people are slowly becoming more aware about and becoming more open to is let's just keep it real. A lot of this might be in the wrong structure, relationship wise. We are trying to fit our relationships into one mold. And the reality is, as we already see, we could look at divorce rates and all the venting going on about relationships and so forth. It all points to that there's something going on, right? It's a symptom of something deeper. And one of the things is that you're probably in the wrong structure. And so because you're not in the right structure, you're now judging somebody based off a structure that you're in that's not really working for you. Okay? So I highly encourage you to maybe open your mind and begin to maybe look at it and be like, well, hold on, if I'm kind of judging my lover, the more we spend time with each other and everything, is probably pointing to that you might have something going on with the structure that you're in. Okay? And so it's alarming you. Maybe we need to restructure our relationship. Now, that takes a lot of self honesty, self exploration, and us welcoming the true truths versus us acting in a certain way that we expect each other to be in. That's another piece when we do that that helps what sparks the judgment and the perception. So when you begin to really look at that, um, then you kind of can start to get your arms around um, what is actually driving you apart. And now you can kind of start getting in the position of bringing yourselves more back together. Okay? It's amazing to think about it, how much opinions can split us. Actually, when you look at the word opinion, if you do some word study outside the box, you'll find it means divided in mind. And so what begins to happen, a lot of times inside your relationships, the unifying opinions that you might have about each other are now divided. And so that means the rhythm is off, and that means on a bigger picture between you and your prior relationship structure is actually conflicting with y'all, and you don't know it. Okay, so that's what that's one of the things to look at if you are experiencing a loss of attraction inside your relationships from a five reflective element perspective.